In a moment here, I'm going to do my usual greeting in my own language called Gitigi, and then I'm going to do it in double talk for you. Then I'm going to do it in English, my usual manner. And with the adding and subtracting of vowels, this is an example of how you can take any word from any language and add or subtract vowels, and then you can give the word an entirely different meaning in that other language. So here goes. My language. Hadagai, yidagoob, tudagoob. Okay. And double talk. Hagai, yagoo, tagoob. And English. Hi, YouTube. Think about that for a minute. That's wild, isn't it? That's exactly how the so-called overlords of this planet rearranged language from the Tower of Babel until now, with adding and subtracting vowels and changing words and their meanings directly to deceive people. Now, if you want to learn my language more, sorry, um, I thought about writing it down and showing you how the added vowels work and everything else. But show me if you're interested in learning it. I'll make a video specifically teaching people Gitigi. If not, well then it will be a lost, mysterious language that very few people know. Only a handful of people, and I'll say that in my language. Aragon Aragi, Araga, Haragan Fadago, Aragav, Paragi Parago, Nanago, Managai, Lutagang, Wedagich. Only a handful of people know my language. And see the English in there too? But, so, how's that? How to goes that a get, you know? And yes, it's why not? If other people can make languages, why can't you or I, right? Who's to say? And if they don't understand it, well, that's okay too, isn't it? So, can you imagine like you're in war times and you're able to pass on like espionage things through your own language, like if I say I love you, at a guy, let a go, yet a goo, you know. So, and double talk. A guy, la gov, ya goo, you know. So my language has added vowels and little tiny words in there to make it something entirely different that people probably wouldn't understand. Pradagab, Ludagi, what a good, Udagint, Udagun, Dudagur, Studagand. Probably wouldn't understand. And that's exactly what happened in the world, just right there, through language. And I could change the meaning. Let me say the word meaning. Medagin, Edagin. Or Medagin, Edagin, rather. Um, I can make it an entirely different word with an entirely different meaning. I could pretty much tell you anything I wanted. It's my language, you know? So if I want to define a word as something else in my language, that's how they did it right there. So when you see um, where scriptures were changed from one language to another language, you have to look for the changes in the words and where the words came from and where they went and how they changed and why they changed it, where was what was lost or what was added. All this is really important, and we will nail them with their own languages that they changed to deceive people on purpose. So, cheers, everybody. Respect is my new word for 2024. Um, I'm going to be really, really careful on where I don't receive that, not to give those type of people my attention. Like, there's certain people that'll like totally bum my day out on a Monday. Like, I haven't had enough blue Mondays of my own, you know. But so I'm going to be really cautious of the energy vampires that have a tendency to, like, if they just like click off on a video, like inserting their authority or saying something rude and then just leaving it on that, um it leaves you feeling rather disrespected. And or if you get on somebody's, usually I love it when people just talk and like about their lives and what they're going through, and if it's in relation to God, all the better. That's why I love listening to people that study the human mind, because it gives a little more in depth and insight of their own thoughts. So I love it when people are just talking about whatever is on their mind. Um, but I'm also going to be very, very cautious to not take stock in the fact that, like I'm not going to wholeheartedly sit there and listen to somebody that I think is a pleasant person that turns, um, on a dime into rude. So like a person can be, they're very self-centered. They're not thinking about other people's feelings when they're making their videos. They're concerned about their points and their life and their future. And of course, aren't we all? But how concerned are we really for other people, you know? So I'm going to be really leery about people that give me that feeling of disrespect like that. I'm not going to tolerate it at all this year, you know. I've had enough people, self-centered people in my life that really only care about themselves, you know. Imagine this. I'll tell you a little story. I don't even have to name names, but I'll just tell you what happened. A conversation came up where somebody needed to get like their ID because they lose it all the time, and this is a handicapped person. And I had somebody comparing their stuff to the handicapped person, saying, well, I've had my ID that my mother gave me, you know, so many years ago, and it's all the same, still the same one in um, the wallet that was given to me with it and whatever. And I said, yeah, you had an advantage in your life. You didn't have your father put his in you when you were a baby. So I think you kind of had a head start on not having a mental handicap in different ways than this person that I was talking about at that time. It's like, yeah, well, I think you had a little bit of an advantage not having all these things. Your father did not do that to you. So you had an advantage in life that the person I was talking about didn't have, you know. Well, I didn't mean it like that. Well, how could you mean it? How could we go from talking about somebody that's severely handicapped into your life? Where did we go? Where we go from that comparison, you know? Yeah. So anyway, that's the type of nonsense I go. That's totally selfish. It's like, so anyway. I just wanted to air that. So, anyway, I think that was yesterday that happened. So, yeah. So, anyway, let me see. Today is Saturday, right? So, is it? Yeah, I think it is. Um, I'm going to be really careful on Monday. I probably won't be listening to people as much as I used to, especially when I think they're just going to be talking and then they just, like, no warning. It's like, I'm the best. Click. That's it. I'm going to leave you there, Or, or, um, I think you know what I mean. I don't know if you've run across these people like that, but there's no consideration for your time or your energy. There's no mutual respect in something like that. That's why when I say, like, well, I'm going to let you go and then I'll talk a little bit more because I do not want to be the type of person that you're listening to and you're getting into a conversation and all of a sudden it's just gone. Like, that's the only power I would have would to be say, I'm smarter than you and click. How would that be to start your day or to end a day or whatever? No, that's not cool at all. So I'm really careful with people's feelings because carrying Christ's heart, that's the consideration and the mutual respect that we show each other. That's being humble for each other, and that's should have been my middle name, you know. But that's why I'm so adversely opposed to manipulators and self-centered people and that type of stuff. I'm going to, like I say, be really, really cautious this coming year with my feelings like that. So other people aren't, so I I have to be, you know. We're gonna have some noise because Doug's still building on that porch. It snowed the other day a little bit, and so he's still got building to do on it. But yeah, he's doing a little bit at a time. So, and it did keep the snow off the porch the last couple nights. There was a couple sprinkles, like the night before and um, the night before that. So not a lot. It didn't accumulate a lot, but yeah, really just I'm considering all the people that I have known that are so inconsiderate. It's like, is this really our world? Is this the way people act? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm out of touch. That's a good song, by the way. I don't know who sings it. And I'm out of my head when you're not around. I'm out of touch. Or you're out of touch. Maybe that's the lyrics. Um, but yeah, self-centered creatures. And they are. I noticed Archaics was live today, and he's always got good stuff, but um, my internet has been kind of just goofy off and on. If it stops loading and he's doing a live stream, then I miss stuff. So a lot of times with live streams, if I want to watch them, I'll just wait till they're over and then go watch them, you know. I don't need to be a part of the chat. There's a lot of times too, if there's so many people, that people don't really say hi or talk unless they know each other anyway. So, yeah, I don't know how many people in that community know me. Probably no one. So, anyway, I don't know. It's just not in me to be selfish. So and I encounter it so much, it's just people think they might be doing a service for other people, but the harm that's done, um, and I'm not overly sensitive. I'm just right on things. My social manners are top shelf. So when I see that lesser type of behavior, it's like, if you truly want to be a world leader, our compassion has to reign. We have to have that concern and show that we have that concern. You can't pretend your way to the top, you know? You just can't, you know. So I guess it depends too on what you want to be the top of, like which totem pole, the ugly one or the good looking one, you know. And then too, it might consider what you, or be like, what do you consider ugly or good looking? It's like, well, I think that's an ugly totem pole, but you find beauty in it. Okay, then you need to be the top of that totem pole, and I'm cool with that. But I just some people give mixed messages, like you don't really know where they're coming from. They can say where they're coming from, but it's not apparent because they're giving mixed signals. It's like, well, I'm a man of God, but well, you today anyway. But tomorrow I'm going to be back and be a man of God, and then the next day I'm going to be like you. you know, that's the impression I get off of some people, and they think they might be being attacked. No, you're being schooled by the best. Get that part. you know. Social mores. What's that? Anyway, like Professor Bachman would say, look it up. Yeah, that's how we learn things. We learn things by looking them up. It's like I heard somebody talking about a scorpion ballad, Send Me an Angel. It's not bald ad, it's ballad. It's a ballad, um, meaning usually a story put into song, usually about war, but it could be a ballad of love. Ballard. I do believe, not Bald. That's bald. Anyway, but we do learn syllables and punctuations and words by reading. The more we read, the more we know. You know, and you can really tell who's actually read a lot on this planet. If they're well read, their language skills are utmost. And I think it's important to know languages. In fact, it is languages that will take these freaks that are in power. They're using language all over the world against everybody. and their lack of understanding in other languages. It's like, oh, John Levy had an excellent video last night about Iran, and some of the old ruins there they're just incredible. Um, if you want to look up and see it, maybe some of you have seen it with your own eyes, but it's remarkable. It's just the architecture, and I know, like in Iran and Syria and Afghanistan and these places, they're not looking for giant bones or anything. No, they're destroying ancient monuments and things and hiding things that would give us clues to the past. So, yeah. Can you imagine finding an ancient language, a mysterious one, and not knowing how to read it? We have those. We have there's about two or three at least languages out there that are ancient that people cannot decipher. That'd be like me writing down my language, um, and people not understanding it. Well, they wouldn't understand it now because it's new. So they're sure not going to understand it, say, a couple thousand years from now, um, unless I actually teach it to people, you know. And yeah, anyway, it's a big deal. Language, it's all about that. It's the word. And that's exactly how Hebrew was added vowels to scriptures to change when it should have been a she, and they put history instead of her story. Um, these are real things that they did, or combining God as both sexes. That one will always fry me out, and the people that will describe what is the energy of God in fleshly terms, in any aspect, whether it's serpentine, reptile, alien, pangender, um, androgynous, however they want to paint our Creator, cannot be described in fleshly terms, but yet they keep in doing it, to deceive people. So this is the year where Mama's not putting up with your shit anymore, and you're either going to grow up or you're going to perish in your wallow in your shit. And I'm not going to give you the helping hand to pull you out. You're going to stay there. That's this year for everybody in my life. So I'm not putting up with the baby games. Adult men acting like babies. Ugh, no. It's not happening anymore. If you have adults in your life that are acting childlike, you better help grow their asses up, because this is the real world. This is not the demented freak show that all the freaks want. This is the reality of how we have a structure of society with mutual respect for everybody on this planet. And no, I don't respect the non-respectable. That is a class that you have to graduate into. You don't just get it. It's not just given, you know. And they can push all this, oh, do your own thing and just be you. Well, what if being you is causing other people harm? You think I'm going to say just be you? No, you better pretend to be somebody else even if you're not. That goes back to like psychopaths and narcissists. They can pretend out in public, so they can pretend with you or I too. If they don't have those feelings for real, then they better start pretending really good and make my life more pleasant than it has been. Or there will be hell to pay. Guess who owns hell? Satan doesn't own hell. That's his prison. You know, it's not his. He might rule it, but he didn't design it, he didn't make it, he doesn't contain it, and he actually doesn't have the ultimate control. None of us do. But there's a lot of people that sure think they do, don't they? Can you imagine the power that somebody must have felt the first time they changed a language, the first time they changed a word or a meaning or added a vowel or took away a vowel? What a rush that must have been to watch the people listening to them not understand a word they were saying. That must have been a trip. I mean, I'm talking the first time that ever happened. You know? If, like the stories say, it all happened in one place and then the people scattered. What I think is they scattered, and then when it's just like in different neighborhoods, you'll have certain slangs or, um, like youngsters now will say he really crushed it. In other words, he really did a good job on that, or he just aced it, or, different slangs for the same meaning, the same term, um, aced, crushed, um, excelled, you know. So, yes, I'm going to be really, really careful this year with my energy, what I give to people, and what I accept out of them. I accept nothing but top shelf in my life now. Everybody else is expendable. How they treat other people. If they treat people expendable, they'll be treated expendable. So, and no more of the days of me wondering if somebody's going to rise up to the occasion occasionally or on a constant basis, you know. Because if we can't overcome the poor me attitude to take extra effort and time for other people's feelings, then you're going to have to wallow in the poor me shit by yourself. And then the ones with the true grace of God will surpass anything that you could ever have done. And you'll be with your peers. Speaking of that, I'm going to take you over into my community and read something that I had gathered last year about the wheats and the tares. Is interesting. Okay, just a minute. Bible Dictionary, Easton's Bible Dictionary on tares. The bearded darnel, mentioned only in Matthew 13:25 through 30, is the Lolium temulium Oh wait, no. This is it's Italian, just a second. Latin. Okay, it's Lolium tem lentum, a species of ryegrass, the seeds of which are strong, sporific poison. It bears the closest resemblance to wheat till the ear appears, and only then the difference is discovered. It grows plentifully in Syria, Palestine, Middle Middle English, probably akin to Middle Dutch, terwe, wheat Middle English from Anglo-French, from Old Italian terra, from Arabic terhara, literally that which is removed. Did you know? Ter came to English by way of Middle French from the Old Italian term terra, which is itself from the Arabic word tahara, meaning that which is removed. One of the first known written records of the word tear in English is found in the naval inventories of the Britain's King Henry the Seventh. The record shows, the record shows 2 barrels of gunpowder weighing, besides the tears, 500 pounds. When used of vehicles, tear weight refers to the vehicle's weight exclusive of any load. The term tear is closely tied to the net weight, which is defined as weight excluding all tear. I just found that pretty interesting. So, yeah. Poison wheat. Isn't that something? No wonder the wheat and the tear would be separated, huh? If one's actually toxic, you know, and what you don't want to eat it. What it is, too, is there's a type of spore that was developed in Russia and implemented in the United States in the 70s. And it was a spore from a tear that the head of the wheat got bigger, and the grains, I've told you this before, but they're void of nutrients. And when it goes through your body, it causes more bloating and whatever. Your body's fighting to digest something. That's how it accesses the poison. It's empty in nutritional value, but yet the grain, you can't digest it because there's no nutrients in there to help it digest. So it just sits there like kind of stagnant. And that's a lot of the type of wheat that we've adopted in the United States. Not all of it, but some of it. And they'll use it in grains, like cereals and different things for mass production to give it more. So they hybrid this spore with our natural wheat to make it a bigger head of wheat to give it more volume, but it's lacking nutrients. So I hope you can hear me. I didn't know this was going to happen, but oh well. Excuse me a moment. Cheers. I hope you heard all that anyway. So anyway, back to my language thing. Think about it with the added vowels or a syllable here or there, or a tiny word inserted into another word and then changing the meaning. It's elaborate, but if I could do it in 8th grade, why do people find it so hard to believe that it was done with the scriptures, trying to, not trying, they deceived the whole world. Oh, I'm watching a pretty good movie. It's a little gory. I'm gonna um, pop over and let you know what that's called because of some of the historical facts in there that I found. It's called Regatul Credulia. There's another name, Heavenly Kingdom, but it talks about the Crusades and how the Christians went into Jerusalem and murdered people with under the guise of the Catholic Church, under the guise of Christianity, killing in the name of God. And there was even some of the soldiers that, they abandoned their posts, their position, because of they couldn't see murdering whole villages of people or towns of people in the name of God to make them comply to what the church wanted. And this happened all over the place, constantly. Now, with Jerusalem being one basic entity, so you could say like the Vatican and Jerusalem basically are the same because they are. And they work. They can call like Christianity a Abrahamic religion, not the one I believe in, not the one that's represented all over the planet. It's entirely different. My God doesn't kill. It's not allowed. And being cruel is not allowed. If you truly have God in your heart, um, there'd be something inside of you that would stop you from exhibiting cruelty to other people, even in the smallest of ways, even if it's to insert your authority as whatever authority you think you are, and by in that way, making people feel like they're beneath you because of that, and it's just sick. I'm sick of being sick from these sickos, you know. So yeah, watch out for the Moody Monday men. I'm not falling for it anymore, you know. Even if it's on a Friday. I'm not putting up with your shit anymore. So if your old lady puts you in a bad mood, you better contain your shit. And you better learn how to put on a smiley face even if you're faking it. I'm going to pop over to Facebook for a minute. I'll finish my cigarette here with you and see what's going on. I shared a meme last year, the heart of a warrior woman. Warriors confront the evil that most people refuse to acknowledge. Yeah, that says it all. True friendship is like sound health. The value of it is seldom known until it's lost. My 2024 in one word, happy. That would be nice. It shows a lion drinking out of a stream and it says, calm but alert, relaxed but ready, smooth but sharp, humble but confident. Um, Michael Pearl at the door had a pretty good one yesterday. How to rightly divide the Bible. That's called The Door if you're interested. I passed around a native one from Native Outlaws. It says, the ground on which we stand is sacred ground. It is the dust and the blood of our ancestors. People rarely consider that. They consider it in every other part of the world, but not here. Here's somebody wrote, we participate, or wait, we practice evil in the flesh, but now we practice good in Jesus, so let's boast in Him and not in ourselves. There's a gazillion men out there thinking they're Jesus. Yesterday I shared this one. It's back in my day, it's a native guy. LOL meant leave our land. Bruce Lee said ultimately the greatest help is self-help. Yeah. Oh, um, there's a Nicolas Cage picture and it says, what movie comes to mind when you see this man? Gee, I don't know. I really don't. 60th birthday. Hmm. So he's a Capricorn. Figures. Yeah, so that's probably about it. I hope I made my point with those vowels and syllables, how you can add and take stuff away and make words whatever you want. I'm going to say, see you later, YouTube, and get a gee. And then I'm going to change the word YouTube into something different and tell you the definition. Sedagi, yetagu, letagay, tedagur, yetagu, tedagoob. The yetagu, tedagoob means blue sky. Prove it. You know, it's YouTube, but I just named it blue sky in my language. That's how easy it was done, just like that. And then they correlate, what does that take from this? Satan did this. What does that take from this language? What, it said that God confused the languages. Well, initially it was his idea, but it was Satan's plan, if you see what I mean. I hope I made my point that you have to read the scriptures with your heart. You just can't take on face value that um, the first woman made was some kind of slut or cunt, and like mixing up a Virgin Mary and a whore, and it's all, and how it was said she was taken in adultery. I keep saying kidnapping. Is that taken? If somebody was married and they took a woman, he would be taking somebody in adultery, not her. So it's the wording, it's what a man, if a man's reading that and his wife's a whatever, or mother or people they know, they're gonna assume the worst. You're not gonna think, oh, something happened to Mary, I should feel sorry for her. You're gonna keep pushing the fact that she was some kind of hose bag, and that's our lineage. And you're sitting there calling like the great mother a whore. You're playing right into Satan's hand with all that because you've been around whores, evidently. And so when women are watching these men depicting Eve or Mary as something they weren't, that's how they feel inside. That's what they're getting out of the scriptures. That's not how they're written. It's what they hear and what they read and how they decipher it for their own gains. It's not certainly not patronizing women. It's not loving of a towards women for us to hear all that's been said about women in general in that respect, like we're some kind of weak-minded, feeble ass is out here. In all reality, a woman can control her urges far easier than most men, and that's a fact. But until men come to grips with that strength in a woman and stop trying to beat them down physically, well, we're never going to get along on those terms, you know. So, all right, everybody, I'm going to get this uploaded. I appreciate you joining me. Have a really nice night or day wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.